Harry, firstly, how are you coping with it all? How are the TPA coping with it all? And I believe that the TPA have come up with some policy suggestions of their own.
Yeah, no, we're all coping fairly well. Thankfully, a lot of what we do, because a lot of it is research based, many people can do that from home. What we are really missing out on, though, is that ability to go and do the grassroots campaigning that I have the fortune of being in charge of. And usually this sort of time of year, we'd be, in Croydon High Street in lovely sunny weather, handing out leaflets, banging the gong for lower taxes and accountability in local government. But yeah, sadly, I mean, as you say, who knows when we'll be going back to that. But in terms of coronavirus itself, we've put out a statement as well as a briefing note on some policy recommendations. Specifically with coronavirus, we put forward three policy recommendations. Divert the aid budget to fighting coronavirus. So we send about £15 billion every year on overseas development assistance. So where that spending is non isn't being used for humanitarian purposes, I think it's fair to say we could divert a lot of that money to tackling the problem here at home. Secondly, we've called for a freeze on council tax and focusing, what money councils do have on health and social care services. I mean, specifically on the freezing point, council tax is now £1,817 for a Band D bill on average in England now, and that is quite, it's £150 every month. It's a huge strain on people's finances. So planned rises should be frozen basically. Third one, suspend Sunday trading restrictions. We're seeing these longer and longer queues now at supermarkets, although they have eased in recent weeks. But it seems to me if you can let supermarkets open for longer, it gives an opportunity to remove bottlenecks or limit the number of bottlenecks that there are. Also gives staff a chance to restock more easily. So we're hoping the government will take heed of our suggestions.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think we've seen a number of regulations that have been removed, albeit temporarily, to allow business to work through this whole situation. It might be an idea to not actually bring them all back in once we're actually out of this, because ultimately we've borrowed a lot of money, or we will have to pay. We'll have to pay for all of this. Perhaps understandably, we had to do something, but how we're going to pay it back? Well, ultimately, it's businesses and that actually generate that wealth, and that actually then pay the taxes or employ people that pay the taxes. So I think a bit of deregulation would be the way to go. But you can just imagine that there's some people out there who are quite happy with this collectivism that's occurred at the moment, and perhaps wouldn't agree with us. So I think we've got a bit of a fight on our hands, but I think we've definitely got the right ideas there from the Taxpayers Alliance.